Here's my update for April 23rd, 2020. I'll just show you a few of my plants that are in bloom. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. Here is a bunch of my Phalaenopsis, no IDs. These are my big box plants. This is one of my favorites here. This is one that I particularly like because it blooms on a really small plant, even with leaves that have cat bites on them. So that's one of them. And this one here is also another big box store Phalaenopsis. It's a miniature, and this one happens to be scented, smells like cinnamon. And I finally managed to rebloom it by giving it really strong, almost vandalite. And this is what made it bloom. So it's really like this guy a lot. Over here is my Ariel retrocala, one that is always in bloom, it seems, at this time of the year. It usually blooms from May till October. And sorry for the light. As you can see, it's just getting ready to bloom. Seems to like the homemade mount. Over here we have Ornithocephalus Krugerii, which I purchased at Equigenera a few years back. Some of the flowers are already opened, and this has a really nice floral fragrance. Surprising for such small flowers. There are 2 spikes on this one. Okay, next. This is Leptodes bicolor. This is a first-time bloomer. I've had it almost 3-4 years. I don't know why it took me so long to bloom this one. It is not fragrant, unfortunately, but it is nevertheless very attractive. So good for small spaces for sure. Let's see what's next. Well, you've seen this one before. This is my Brassavola Little Stars, almost at its end now, but it has been wonderful to have this around for especially in the evenings as it gets darker. It was just super fragrant this year, even though there's only 3 flowers, and it is starting its new growths here, and this will be summered outside. There are so few flowers this year. I mean, I think I had like 25 last year, but I divided my plant into 4 divisions, so hence why I only have 3 flowers. This one is Angraecum didieri, and it is heavily fragrant in the evenings, at night, and but the leaves are very brittle, hence why I have this tape here, because this leaf is just hanging on with this tape. This plant's going to need some care this year. I'm going to have to probably top it off, maybe cut it here, or maybe above the keiki. I'm just not sure, but I'm going to wait till it finishes blooming and decide what to do with it. But it is a large flower for the size of the plant, and it's really good for small spaces. Next to it is my Ascocentrum primary hybrid. Can't pronounce the name, so it's called Motes Adorbs. Basically, that's the name for this thing. Has the same parents. So this one has 2 spikes. I did feature it in the virtual orchid show, but now most of the flowers are opened, so that's quite lovely. So now that the plant's been out of bright sun, it's gone back to looking green again. But when I put it back on the windowsill in the bright sun, it's going to turn beet red again. Here's the last of my no ID Phalaenopsis. This one was also featured in a virtual orchid show, but it had 2 spikes. As with all of my phalaenopsis, or at least most of them, this is in full water culture, and very, very easy to care for. This is my one and only Coleogeny. It's done okay since it's been here. It's grown a lot of new roots. It's in mixed media, rocks, like sphagnum moss. I mean, it's done very well. It's grown some new leaves since it's been here, and it bloomed before, but in order for this one to thrive, it needs to bloom in a fairly humid environment, one that I can't give in my living room where it's presently growing. Yeah, so the flower, this is the new pseudobulb. Let's see if I can put it in the sun. And I'm fairly certain that what you're seeing here is a bud, because these pseudobulbs start off with flowers and then the leaf comes out eventually. So this one's going to be in bloom, I don't know, maybe in a week or 2, I don't know. I have no idea. But this plant, as much as I love it, the flowers are really, really cool, but it's not blooming to its full potential. So it's going to be going to Orchidea, who has a dedicated orchid room. And I'm hoping that she can bloom it to its full potential, because it should have at least 3 to 5 flowers. But it only does 1, and then it just dries up. So, and I'm fairly certain it's the fact that I don't have a humidifier and in my living room. So that's the way it goes. But the plant is healthy. It does have some burnt tips, but that's because it's just getting too much sun here. This is a southwest exposure, but I mean, some of the leaves are really nice. This is an older leaf. It's a bit split. So it just needs to be tidied up a bit. But other than that, I think this is going to make a nice addition to Orchidea's collection. This is Dendrobium aggregatum. Really am surprised this thing is actually blooming this year, because I divided the plant and it's blooming maybe about a month later than it normally does. But I mean, last year it had five spikes. It was just breathtaking. I absolutely love this plant when it's in bloom. Not many people mention this, but the flowers are kind of scented. They smell like hay, which is a very, very interesting scent. They're not super long-lived, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, but it's a very, very tough plant. I mean, I don't water this plant from the end of November to early February. Give it a really dry winter rest, hence why the pseudobulbs are super dry. But it can take a lot of winter light. As you can see from these leaves, they're still dark green. And I summer it outside, but I keep it shaded. Basically, it gets treated like almost like a nobile type dendrobium. And that's it. Dendrobium aggregatum. And last but not least is Vanda Princess Mikasa. I highly recommend this one if you are growing Vandas, especially in Canada. This one's an easy one, and it comes in 3 colors. This is Mikasa Blue. I love the flat flowers and the tessellations. And yeah, I've only had it since August, but this is its first rebloom, so really, really happy. And it was also featured in the virtual orchid show, so you can see that these flowers are relatively long-lived. In the back is Vandico Stylus Pine Rivers. And this is its second spike this spring. So it was not featured in the virtual orchid show because it was in between spikes. But as you can see on the plant, there are multiple previous spikes, and all of these are from here. So I've only had this plant maybe for 3 years, but it's bloomed that many times since being here. So another one that's highly recommended, Pine Rivers. Thank you for watching.